Are you ready for the most ingenious prison escape in history? A 20-year-old prisoner, a simple laundry bag, and a plan so brilliant that it fooled an entire maximum security prison. This is the story that shocked France and changed prison systems forever. Don't forget to subscribe for more incredible inmate stories. Antoine, 20 years old, sentenced to 4 years in prison for drug charges. He's been held at Corbas Prison for 8 months. A quiet, observant, and extremely intelligent young man. Since day one, he has only one goal: get out of here. Marcel, 23 years old, serving 6 years for theft charges. He's been at Corbas for 2 years. An experienced inmate who knows the system well and is Antoine's only ally. Someone who can be trusted. Garde du Bois, 42 years old. He's worked in the prison system for 15 years, has 8 years of experience at Corbas, disciplined and rule-abiding, a successful security officer who has never had a security breach. Director Philippe Moreau, 54 years old. A prison administrator with 30 years of experience. He's been managing Corbas for 12 years. A meticulous director who never compromises on security. Never experienced a major security incident in his career. The iron gates of Corbas Prison opened like they did every Friday morning. But this time, someone was leaving who wasn't supposed to. Hidden inside a pile of dirty laundry was a 20-year-old prisoner about to pull off the impossible. Located near Lyon, France, Corbas Prison was one of the country's most secure correctional facilities. With its towering walls, razor wire, surveillance cameras, and experienced guards, escaping from here was virtually impossible. But on that cold March morning in 2013, a 20-year-old inmate was about to outsmart this entire security system with a plan so simple yet so brilliant that it would make headlines across Europe. The young prisoner, whom we'll only know as Antoine, was serving a 4-year sentence for drug-related charges. From his very first day behind bars, all he could think about was getting out. But unlike other inmates, Antoine wasn't planning to use violence or brute force. He had discovered something much smarter. Every Friday morning at 8 a.m., the prison's laundry service would begin operations. All inmates' dirty clothes would be collected, stuffed into large bags, and sent to an external laundromat. This routine had been running smoothly for years. Guards would check the bags, count them, and load them onto the truck. The system was perfect. At least it was until that day. Antoine had been observing this process for weeks. He memorized which guard changed shifts when, how the laundry bags were handled, how long the truck waited. He had it all figured out. And he noticed something crucial. During Friday morning laundry operations, security was at its most relaxed. The plan was simple but perfect in its details. For an entire week, Antoine collected extra clothing. He also gathered garments from other inmates. His goal was to create the largest, heaviest laundry bag possible. This way, when he hid inside it, the weight difference wouldn't be noticeable. But the most critical part of the plan involved someone else. Antoine's cellmate Marcel was in on it. Marcel was 3 years older than Antoine, an experienced inmate. He also wanted out, but due to his age and criminal history, he had no chance of parole. So he decided to support Antoine's escape. Marcel's job was simple. After Antoine got into the bag, tie it securely and blend it in among the regular laundry bags. Then act like nothing had happened. When that critical Friday morning arrived, everything was going according to plan. At 7:45 a.m., the laundry collection process began. Antoine waited in his cell, his heart pounding. Marcel tried to appear calm, but he could feel his hands shaking. At exactly 7:52 a.m., Antoine made his move. He climbed into the large laundry bag he had prepared. Getting into position was difficult. He had to curl his body as small as possible while maintaining a small air pocket for breathing. Marcel tied the bag tightly and placed it among the other bags, and then the waiting began. Minutes felt like hours. Inside the bag, Antoine's heart was beating so fast it felt like it might explode. He was struggling to breathe, drenched in sweat, but there was no turning back. At 8:15 a.m., the guards arrived. "How many bags today?" asked Garde Dubois. 12, Marcel replied, his voice showing no sign of nervousness. Dubois counted the bags. Yes, there were 12, just like always. But he didn't inspect them. He didn't open each bag to look inside. Why would he? This routine had been running without problems for years. The idea that someone could hide inside a laundry bag never crossed anyone's mind. The bags were loaded onto the truck one by one. Antoine's bag was among them. Truck driver Bernard counted the bags as usual and hit the road. The distance was only 15 kilometers. But for Antoine, this would be the longest 15 kilometers of his life. Inside the bag, Antoine tried to breathe. With every turn, every brake of the truck, the bags would bump into each other. Antoine did his best to avoid being crushed. Meanwhile, one thought kept running through his mind. What if I get caught? The laundromat was located in a small industrial area 2 kilometers outside the prison. When the truck arrived there, the second phase of Antoine's plan would begin. While the laundromat workers unloaded the bags, he would look for his chance to escape. The truck stopped. Antoine could hear voices. The laundromat workers had started unloading the bags. When his turn came, Antoine's bag was also unloaded. It rolled around on the ground a bit, but Antoine made no sound. "This bag is really heavy," said one of the workers. "Yeah, I guess there's extra laundry this week," said another. And they carried the bag inside the laundromat building. Antoine waited for the right moment. When the laundromat workers went on their lunch break, he emerged from the bag. He looked around. No one was there. His heart was still racing, but he could smell freedom. He quietly exited through the back door of the laundromat. The cold air filled his lungs. For the first time, he was truly free. But he wasn't safe yet. It was only a matter of time before prison officials noticed his absence during roll call. Antoine started walking toward the city center as he had planned. He needed to blend in with the crowd. He tried to look like an ordinary young man. But he was still wearing prison clothes. His first stop was a clothing store. With the money he had stolen, he bought normal clothes. He threw away his prison uniform. Now he looked like a completely different person. At noon, roll call was conducted at Corbas Prison. When Guard Rousseau came to Antoine's cell, he found it empty. "Where's Antoine?" he asked Marcel. Marcel shrugged. "I don't know, maybe he's at the doctor's or in administration." But when checked, Antoine was neither at the medical unit nor in administration. The alarm was sounded. The prison began to be searched. Every corner, every cell, every storage room was checked. But Antoine was nowhere to be found. At 2:30 p.m., the horrifying truth was realized. Antoine had escaped. But how? He hadn't climbed the walls, hadn't cut through the wire fences, hadn't used violence against anyone. So how had he gotten out? An investigation began. Security cameras were reviewed. The morning laundry operation footage was analyzed in detail. And that's when the incredible truth emerged. Antoine had escaped inside a laundry bag. Prison director Philippe Moreau was in shock. "In my 30-year career, I had never seen anything like this," he told the press. This exposed the biggest weakness in our system. From now on, we will check every laundry bag individually. But Antoine was already far away. For 24 hours, no one knew where he was. This time was golden for an escaped prisoner. He could completely lose his trail. Police issued bulletins throughout France. Antoine's photo was posted everywhere, but he seemed to have vanished into thin air. There was no trace. The media made it a big story. Escape in laundry bag headlines dominated newspaper front pages. The hashtag #laundry escape became trending on social media. Some saw Antoine as a hero, while others criticized the security failure. Prison management came under heavy criticism. The Ministry of Justice immediately launched an investigation. Security protocols were reviewed. From now on, every laundry bag would go through X-ray machines and be manually inspected. Guard Dubois was suspended from duty. "This isn't my fault," he defended himself. "The system was like this. Who would think someone could hide in a laundry bag?" He was right. The system really wasn't prepared for such a simple escape. The routine that had worked smoothly for years was also its biggest weakness. Marcel was also questioned, but he didn't confess anything. "I don't know what Antoine did," he said. "He seemed normal in the morning, then he wasn't there during roll call, that's all." There was no evidence. Marcel couldn't be charged, but everyone in the prison knew he was involved. Days passed, turning into weeks. There was still no news from Antoine. All police efforts were in vain. It was as if he had been erased from the world. 3 months later, 500 kilometers from Lyon, someone resembling Antoine was spotted on a security camera in a small town. But they couldn't be sure. He had dyed his hair and grown a mustache. He looked completely different. Police searched the town but couldn't find him. Antoine was one step ahead again. This escape went down in prison history. Security protocols were changed in all correctional facilities in France. Laundry operations were now conducted under much stricter control. But the most important lesson was different. Sometimes the simplest plans can defeat the most complex security systems. Antoine had won his freedom without using violence, without hurting anyone, just by using his mind. Today, 10 years later, Antoine's whereabouts are still unknown. Perhaps he has built a new life in another country. Perhaps he continues to live without ever being caught. Corbas Prison is still operational, but now laundry bags are checked very differently. Prison Director Moreau has retired. "The Antoine case was the biggest failure of my career," he said in his farewell speech. Marcel completed his sentence and was released. He never confessed to playing a role in Antoine's plan, but he had become a legend among former inmates. This story is not just an escape story. It's also an indicator of how systems can harbor weaknesses, how routine can create blind spots. Antoine's plan was genius because he understood the system and found its weakest point. Security isn't always about technology or force. Sometimes the biggest security gap is the human factor. And who knows? Maybe right now in another prison, another inmate is making a similar plan. Because the desire for freedom drives people to make the most creative plans. The Corbas escape will continue to be remembered as one of the most ingenious escapes in prison history. And Antoine, he's still free.